You and I both know that the more that we try to force things to happen in our lives, the worse that we feel, and the more that it feels like nothing is actually going our way. Because whatever you get by force, you ultimately are going to have to keep by force. And why make your life more difficult than it needs to be? Now, this is something that I have really been coming to terms with as of late, because I think for my entire life, I have tried to will my vision into existence. But if I really think about whether or not I even align with the vision that I'm trying to will into existence, I take a step back and I think about, what am I naturally drawn to? What do I like? What do I enjoy doing on a daily basis? And many of the things that I've been trying to will into existence are things that don't necessarily resonate with me on an authentic level. One of the things that I've realized over the years that I really enjoy is I enjoy making these videos. I enjoy writing. I write every single morning without fail. I write 4 pages freehand, whatever's in my mind when I wake up. And I find that to be very cathartic, and it is great. I really enjoy doing it. I also went away from making these videos, but of course, because I enjoy it authentically, I came back to making them. And I kind of found my way into retail, and I was having a moment yesterday when I was at work because someone called out, they were sick, and I was already there early in the morning. Well, not too early, at 11:30, and I was supposed to leave at 3:30, but someone wasn't feeling well and they had an evening shift. So I ended up just staying the entire day. So I was there from 11:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. I had a nice hour-long break for lunch, and I enjoyed it because I like being in the retail store environment. I enjoy working with customers. I just enjoy doing stuff throughout the day. And for my day to really go by quickly, because I'm not just sitting in front of a computer staring at a screen and not around anyone except myself. And I think a lot of people maybe get the whole remote work thing wrong, because as much as I do think it's super convenient to not have to leave your house in order to work, there's something about being an extrovert, okay? And when you're an extrovert and you get energy from being around other people, and where I thought that I was more of an introvert, which I really don't think I am, you recognize that you feel kind of shitty if you're not around people and getting energy from people. So I'm kind of like, have I been looking at things wrong by looking at remote jobs because it's the quote unquote easy thing for me to do? And I think in a sense, yes, okay? And also when it comes to the retail environment, I, for the first time, worked a retail job when I was 19, which was literally 10 years ago. And now I'm back and I'm like, wow, this is really cool, except I'm part-time. And ideally, I want something where I can truly start to make plans for myself, move out, get a car, do these things. But I still want to be able to be with people in person because I truly understand the value of that. And it's so crazy how we deny who we really are in order to fit ourselves in these boxes that society says that we should fit inside. As well as if you're on the internet, then you always are going to hear people complain about, oh my gosh, these companies want us to get back into the office. Who do they think they are? Work from home is just better. And I think there is a point to that. If you have a family, if you're more of an introvert, if you don't necessarily want to feel the energy of people around you, but if you're the average person who shouldn't be cooped up in their house 24/7, then it's probably for the best if you get out of your house and are not confined to working in your house around very little people where you're not working on your social skills. And it's always so crazy to me because when I started this retail job, I feel like I was a bit nervous to actually get back out there in front of people, because when you are not working on that skill set of interacting with people on a daily basis, it can be a little intimidating to actually be forward facing with a customer, because then you have to get used to being with people, dealing with social cues. And I think there's an aspect of me that is a bit like kind of neurodivergent, to the point where sometimes maybe I can say certain things and move in a way, or like do certain facial expressions that maybe aren't as socially acceptable. I definitely think it's a lot better now that I have been working in the retail store. But I also think part of the reason why I'm even saying that is because I was spending so much time online and out of the real world that I was starting to believe these narratives that are widely spread on social media, that ultimately give people the reasons to avoid having to overcome their fears of rejection, of being in society. And I don't think that's helpful for society as a whole. And I think that's one of the major reasons why I've felt so much better since I haven't been on TikTok. It's been 3 weeks now. And I've got to say, getting off of TikTok was one of the best things that I ever did. And for so long, I was resisting it because I was so comfortable in it. Even though I didn't love it, but it really didn't feel like it was in my natural flow of things. But again, I was really comfortable with it. And I would rather do something that I was comfortable with instead of trying something new that I could maybe enjoy even more. And when it comes to this retail job, I really enjoy it. Although I think too much about where it's going, and I need to live a little bit more in the present moment. I've also been thinking more about getting back into investing again. And I have this rule for myself where I always save at least 10% of all the money that crosses my hands. But now I'm looking into, okay, how can I start to acquire more income so that I can begin to put money into stocks the way that I was a few years ago? Because I also really enjoy investing, okay? And I'm a very patient person. I've been very patient with myself, honestly. Not that I necessarily wanted to be patient with myself, but it was definitely a process that God has taken me through. And I've got to say, it hasn't been fun, but I'm at a point now where I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. And I'd rather build from where I'm at right now, as opposed to trying to push in a direction that doesn't feel as authentic as I'm trying to trick myself into believing that it is. And I was seeing this with this one specific company that I've been sending so many emails, trying to connect with people, and I did connect with one person, but once I connected with him, I was like, you know what? I'm genuinely still interested in what this company is doing, but whether or not I work there, I'm not pressed about it, okay? And I think that's the point that you have to get to in your life, where you're not pressed if you work at a specific company, if you end up with a specific type of person, if you end up living in a specific place. You're kind of just going with the flow. And when you're in your own flow, you will be so much happier than when you're trying to force things, because force never leads you anywhere productive. And all of these people online who are saying, oh, you have to go, keep going. I mean, okay, you can keep doing that, but then your entire life is going to be based off of that energy imprint. And how is that going to feel long term? Probably not so good, okay? You want to find things that you enjoy doing, that you can flow into, and it doesn't feel like a chore, because whatever energy you start something with is what you're going to have to be in order to sustain it and in order to truly progress in life. I mean, if you really think about some of these major corporations that have been created, for example, Apple, right? Apple was started because Steve Jobs was just interested in what he was doing. He was interested in design, okay? He wanted to create beautiful products, beautiful technological products. And that flow that he got into is what led him to create Apple, is what led him to create Pixar, okay? So even though these people were working really hard, they weren't going against themselves. They were going with the natural flow of whatever their interests were. And is that not the goal for all of us? All of us should be seeking to figure out, what is it that we can naturally flow within and find our level of success? Not compare ourselves to Jane, Dick, and Harry, but compare ourselves to our higher selves and what our higher selves have been trying to get our attention to look towards, and see that, hey, you're doing it the hard way. You don't have to do that. There's an easier way for you to live your life. But I think there are so many things that we hear in society of like, life is hard. And why does life have to be hard? I would beg to argue that for people who've created some of the most magical things in the world, it wasn't hard for them. They were so interested in it that they could try at something 10,000 times and it works on the 10,001 time. But it was fun the entire time because they were so interested in solving a specific problem, and other people weren't. Other people were in it for the money. Other people were in it for the accolades. They were in it because they were passionate about solving that problem, creating a solution. And then that's what they did. I think immediately of the Wright brothers, and there's this story that I'm totally gonna butcher, but essentially the Wright brothers really wanted to fly, okay? And they didn't have a lot of money. They were scrappy about it. But there was this other guy who had all this funding, and he was trying to be the one who first flew, but he was not in it because he was passionate about flying. He was in it because he wanted the accolades. He wanted the money. And it didn't matter how much money in the world he had access to. He was not really willing to go the extra mile to solve the problem because he didn't care about it. So then these two brothers, Orville and Wilbur Wright, ended up being the ones to beat him to the punch of having the first flight that was sustained in the air for over 14 seconds. Overall, you need to find that thing that you can be super passionate about and it doesn't feel like work for you. Because when you find that thing, it's not going to be hard for you to continue when the going gets tough, because the going will always get tough, okay? And if you don't have the right incentives that align with your soul, that align with your natural interests, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to continue going and trying to make this thing, trying to will this thing into the world, because it's going to feel like a struggle. It really is. And if you want to be someone who creates something radically new in the world, who wants to do something that gives you a sense of purpose, then you have to go with your flow. You can't go against your flow. So stop trying to force things. Stop trying to be like everybody else. And instead, listen into who you are truly, not who society is telling you to be, not who your family is telling you should be, but who you truly are. And answer that call and know that even if it's not the most prestigious thing, as long as it's something that you can get up every single day and not feel like you have to numb yourself when you come home in order to do it, that is what you should be doing, period. So if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next one.